Check out this absolutely adorable journal I just finished making. It has a slip-on accordion spine. It is beginner friendly, it is no-sew, and check out how flat those pages lay. All right, let's go. All right, I'm starting out by creating my cover for this journal. I'm just using cardstock, a single layer of cardstock, and you can see I've painted the back cover. I painted one side of the back cover. It's going to coordinate beautifully. And then I'm using a double-sided scrapbook paper for the front cover. I think it's from Simple Stories. I'm just adding lots of Fabri-Tac all over, and then my paper is cut larger than my cardstock, probably half an inch all the way around. And I'm going to do this. I'm just going to miter the corners and then fold the edge over to create a covered look. But I'm going to let it dry for just a minute. Right now I'm going to work on the spine. I'm using this single-sided piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to score it. I'm using this score pal, and I'm going to score every inch along this paper. So 12 lines or 11 lines, because the 12th would be at the end. Anyway, I'm going to score. You can see there the look I'm going for. Here's another journal I made using this same binding. Look how cute it is. It gets a little chunky, but the accordion allows for a little bit of expansion, which is one reason why I love this journal. All right, so just going and scoring the paper all the way down at 1 inch marks. So I won't use the whole paper, but you'll see in a minute how this goes. I actually score at the 5.5, but I'm not going to ever fold it, so it's going to be fine. All right. And then I decide at this point how tall I want my spine to be. It's not going to be the whole length of the book, which of course it could be, but I'm going to cut this paper into 3 sections, which means my spine will be approximately 4 inches tall, because 12 divided by 3 is 4. And I'm just going to start folding the folds into peaks and valleys. The only thing is I'm not folding the very first score line. I'm leaving it like a double. All right, and I'm just folding it every other one up and the other one down. And you can see there is the spine. All right, time to miter the corners. I just cut off kind of at a curve, always all the way around. I'm gonna get this set down really quickly so I can attach the spine to it and start building my pages. Now, in order to make a larger spine, I'm going to take a second piece of this paper that I scored and fold up the other section, and I'm going to glue those 2 pieces together. I'm also going to leave 2 whole or unfolded at the other end, so those will be my attachments to the cover. And I realized at this point I want the colored polka dot yellow to be on the outside of the journal, so I have to refold everything back the other way so that it folds right. And then I'm going to glue those two sections together. It's going to be a little bit chunky there in the middle, so I decided to cut off one of these pieces and then I just glue it, there we go, to the other one. And now my spine is double. You end up with quite a few pages with this technique, even though it doesn't look like a whole lot. Because all your pages are doubled up, you're going to end up with several pages to work on. A very substantial sized journal. And you can see there how long it is, but how tightly compressed it is. I'm just trimming it up so the edges are perfectly even. Just a little haircut. And I decide that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one side glued down. There's my back cover. He's been drying. And I'm deciding which way is up. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue the whole section that I didn't fold, the two at the beginning, two sections that I scored. And I'm going to glue it to the cover. Now the trick here in the first one is just to get it centered as possible, and then also to make sure it's flush to the back part of the cover. And you'll see me checking that here just to make sure that the first fold is flush to the back of the cover, or the back edge of the cover. And that's literally that. Now we're ready to start adding our pages. All right, it looks great. I love the colors. I love the way they play together. Now I'm showing you a couple pages. I've printed these out. Of course, I did some upside down, but that's neither here nor there. I'm using a lot of the pages I bought from a kit by Creating with Jovi. I'll link it in the description below. I thought it was super cute, and so I wanted to use it. They do print with a white border, so I'm going to trim that off, but I also deciding how big my pages are at this point. I believe I need to cut them at 7 by 11 so I can fold them in half and they'll fit. So some of the pages are going to be a little bit smaller because this is an 11-inch piece of paper and I had to cut it down. So then you have to fold all your pages in half, and you're going to cut a hole in the middle of the fold. All right, I'm going to make, like I said, 2-page signatures. So I'm going to take this part of this map, and it's going to be situated inside that house paper. On the back is just another printable from, oh, I don't know where it's from. I'll have to see if I can remember. All right, so I decide on this map, he just needs to be cut down a little bit. So all I'm doing is trying to figure out where the middle of the map is, and then I only want to cut 4 inches plus maybe a tiny smidge above 4 inches right in the middle of the fold. And I'm going to use this pencil. I realized that that piece I cut off has now become a template. So I just put it in the middle of the page where I want it, and then I just slice a hole, about a 4-inch hole in the middle of each folded paper. And these papers are going to slip over the accordion, and they're going to become part of the book. The paper was ripping, so I just grabbed a stylus and just kind of scored a hole in the middle of the paper. All right, worked pretty good, I think. Right, like that. Okay, you can see there how big the hole is. So basically, most of your pages need to be larger than your spine so that you can cut a hole in the middle of it. And then I'm going to cut a hole here in the middle of this page as well, right on the fold. All right, this paper is a lot sturdier since I just printed on it. I'm just making some marks, and then I'm lining it up with the lines on the ruler there and just going for it. And there it is. All right, and so then when you have your holes cut in all your pieces, you're literally taking your page and just slipping it onto one of the folds. And like I said, I'm doing double page spreads for this. And then, so they don't fall off, you need to grab yourself some things to glue onto that little flap that's sticking out. So I've got these printouts here, some beautiful vintage flower illustrations. And I'm just going to cut them out and then glue one on each side of the flap. You can turn it into a pocket. You can turn it into a journaling opportunity. Just stick photos on it if you want to. I'm just distressing the edge a little bit there. You just glue them together right around the accordion part that sticks up between the pages, and there becomes a page in the middle of your pages. And it's super cute, and it now has secured those pages to the spine, and you're ready to start on your next fold. So I have this dictionary page, and I have this piece of pink stationery. I'm going to cut holes in them using my template and my trimmer. Once again, you just line it up. I'm doing both at the same time, which can be a little bit risky, so just hold them really tight so they're not sliding around on you, and you get a nice cut right down the middle. You slip it onto your next fold, and then you find you something to glue on each side to secure them in place. I'm just going to cut this piece of scrapbook paper, I think it's Maggie Holmes, and glue it to one side and put something else on the other side. I actually love this paper. Look how cute it is. I'm just using a Project Life card here that I got from somebody, and I'm just doing 3 sides, and so this is going to be a pocket. I will get a tag or something to stick in there. You just glue them together, and now that signature is done and those pages are secured inside your journal. It's so easy, it's brilliant. The pages lay flat, it's no sew. I love it. I just love a different technique binding for journals. I found this cute little stamp of something I made, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in right there. Now I'm going to use this piece of colored scrapbook paper. It's double-sided. I love that. I love mixing vintage and modern pieces. It just has a good feel to me. I just sometimes think it's just brilliant. Eclectic vintage is kind of what I call it. All right, so we've got this beautiful piece of scrapbook paper. We cut the hole in the middle. We find something to go inside, which is this piece of vintage ledger paper. Didn't cut all the way through that time. The vintage papers tend to rip when I press too hard with the blade, so sometimes I have to take a moment and just cut them separately, but apparently I did tear that one, so I'm going in now with this vintage children's book page, and I'm going to go again with my stylus and just try to score a hole, which was sort of successful, and they are ready to be put onto the next fold. Now I'm dishing a couple things to go in the middle. I've got this vintage photograph of a dinner party and this green card, and I kind of love the way that is. It has some writing on the back. The picture is not big enough for the spine piece, so I'm going to cover it with some washi tape first. It just is another design element. It makes it look intended instead of I missed something. This is some, I believe, some bloom tape, which I love for this journal. This journal is unofficially themed, like a flower theme almost, so a vintage flower theme, and the tape just fits right in. All right, so I'm just going through and adding my papers there. So you'll see the green on one side, but the other side is kind of like a fill in the blank statement thing, which is super cute. And then I'm just gonna glue this photograph on the back. Perfect. All right, so I have run out of time tonight, but I'm going to come back and finish it up right now. You can see here I've got the cover on. This is an accordion slip through binding. It's a no-sew kind of binding, and it is turning out super duper cute. It is not hard at all. It just takes some time to get all the slits cut and then get it attached in the right way. And what I have gone ahead and done off camera is finish creating what I'm calling signatures, and literally it's 2 pages and then something that you glue into the middle of the pages. So I've got all I've done is counted how many more mountains I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might need one more, but then this will be the ending to attach to my back cover here, and I've got 5 little signatures here created. So we're gonna go ahead and finish getting those in. I'm gonna speed this up so you don't have to like watch me fuss with the details, but literally I've gone ahead and cut the things through using my template. I found the template to be super easy. I would just make marks and then just cut on my cutter, or if you don't want to cut on your cutter, you can use a straight knife, straight blade, and a metal ruler, or even scissors. You can just kind of make a hole and then just cut between your slits. And it also is easy to or not easy, but a good idea to cut a little bit bigger than your slits so that you don't have problems with ripping when you're trying to get it over. But I also have included a couple where I put 3 pages in, just so you could see how a 3-page system goes. So like this one, I've got the cover page, a piece of scrap paper, and another piece of vintage stationery paper as well. So we're gonna go ahead and just turn the music up and just do a little bit of creating before I finish up. All right, here we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and cover up my chipboard covers. When I decided I wanted to use fabric, but it was pretty see-through, so I went ahead and glued and sewed it onto a piece of just white cardstock for a little bit of strength and a little bit of opaqueness. And I'm just trimming it up here. I went around and did a straight stitch, but it wasn't very straight, but that's neither here nor there. And then I'm just gonna glue it down onto my inside of my book. Is a pretty little vintage fabric, but first I'm going to go ahead and cover up because I can see the spine, the whiteness of the spine coming through where they meet. So I'm just going to add some black polka dot washi tape there for a little bit of contrast, a design element, and just cover up that white part of the spine. I'm also going to trim it up a little bit here because it was folding kind of weird. I do not know where my Fabri-Tac is at this point, and so I'm just going with the matte gel medium, which is a really strong adhesive in my opinion, and I'm just gluing this fabric paper to the inside of the cover. Super cute. And then here is my back cover. First thing I need to do is glue that section to the back cover. I want it to line up as close as possible to the front cover, so this is probably the trickiest part, where I'm just adding a lot of matte gel medium to that double piece, and then I'm lining up my back cover as good as possible. I want it to be in the middle as well, and then also have the fold hit the back edge of the spine, or the back edge of the cover. And you can see I'm just going in and adding one more signature. I just found some papers and just cut a hole in them and put them in. This one printable I'm using here is like a folded design journaling card from My Porch Prints. It was a freebie. And here is my other fabric paper. I'm grabbing my washi tape again, and I'm going to add washi tape right over the joint of the spine with the cover, and then I'm going to glue my fabric paper right on. There's the Fabri-Tac. He's been located, and there we go. All right, just lining it up so everything's covered. I did go in Distress and ink all my edges first so that there were no weird white spots. And I'm just going around and adding a little more glue and then just pressing it in. And pretty much at this point, we are done. Look how cute it is. Look how flat the pages lay. All right, and it flips pretty easy, and you've got lots of spots for journaling. Please come back for the next video, because I'm going to go ahead and design this book and then do a full flip through. Thanks for watching. Bye.